How are we doing this? Are we saying something separate or what?
The inaugural Fuzz Friday. We are the Fuzz Boys.
Welcome to Hot Fuzz Friday.
Yay!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the inaugural Fuzz Friday, starring myself,
Chuck Bailey.
And Dave Dixon.
And today is, like I said, our first Fuzz Friday, and we are checking out none other than... It's not really the original Big Muff, but as far as the names are concerned, if you go right now to your retailer of choice, which would be Zounds, this is the Big Muff that has no additional moniker. This is just the Electro-Harmonix Big Muff Pi. And if you thought we were going to start with anything else, you're crazy. So let's just talk about what we're playing first. Dave, what are you playing?
I'm playing my short scale custom steampunk bass. It's got chrome flat wounds on it, EMG Geezer P pickup, and is a 30-inch scale.
All right.
I'm representing the short scale people because I'm a short scale person myself.
I'm gonna fake shock. No, I'm doing passive Fender style PJ. This is an actual Fender. It's not a. I've played so many different PJs. I don't even know what I'm holding anymore. That sounded terrible. Yeah, passive Fender PJ, and it's got EMG pickups. Also, feigned shock. And that's what I'm going to be running today.
Fuck, by pure coincidence, we all have EMGs. I'm representing the active side of things with my Gibson Thunderbird. It's got the active EMG TB-TW with the switches. We'll get into that in a separate video, but just know that these are active splittable humbuckers, so I have humbucker and single coil.
EMG Ermagerd.
Ermagerd. So let's start with Dave. Let me hear just your clean tone.
Okay, this one is with the tone wide open.
And we're going through a Kemper rack unit. It's our profile of the SVT CL, everything set flat. And the cabinet is a cab sim of a Goliath 410 and an Audix D6. So, here's the Muff at all noon.
Chuck.
Let me go here real quick. I'm also doing drop C.
Surprise.
So
yeah, dude, it's classic for a reason.
There's so much I want to touch on just from that little bit there. So like that's the first time I've ever heard Fuzz played on a bass with flats, and I already in my head when you said that I was like, I'm kind of curious if this is going to be really kind of muffled, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. And just for clarification, the Big Muff is set at noon for everything. For the volume, the tone, and the sustain, nothing's been changed on that. So that was just bare bones how it would be if you're out of the box. You didn't want to turn any knobs because you were afraid you were going to break something. That's just how it sounds, and it sounds rad. Yeah, a passive, short scale, and active, and it performs super consistently.
It almost doesn't really matter what you play through.
No.
Yeah, a lot of fuzzes will do that. I didn't even get, when I was playing it earlier, I didn't even get a whole lot of difference turning my tone to 100% or 75% or 0%. So it almost does not matter.
Let me do that. I'm gonna go all back pickup, single coil, and then just like slowly roll the tones out. So it gets a little more woolly at minimum, but like at halfway.
But and that's isolated. Like you're not playing with a full band. Like if you were playing with a full band, or like if you had anything else behind you, you're not going to hear that.
Nope. No, it's hardly noticeable.
Yeah. No, you're not going to hear that at all.
So let's just sweep the knobs.
That's probably why it's so widely used, right? You got guys like famously Robert Sledge from Ben Folds 5 used Big Muff almost all the time, I think, and you can barely hear it when it's in with the full band and the piano and all that stuff, but it just gives a little bit more oomph to the bass tone.
Which, real quick, by the way, you may or may not be able to see the tri-parallel mixer here. I'm not using it for a clean blend like we normally do. I'm just using it to switch our 3 inputs, so we don't have to unplug and hand the cable. So that's all this is being used for. Our ends are going to the return, out from here, into the muff, into the amp. So no blend, and it's got a pretty good amount of low end. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We want to do some knob turning?
Yes. Who's playing? I'll turn them.
I'll turn.
I'll play.
Chuck's playing.
Okay.
So let's start with, let's do the tone.
Okay.
switches. All right. Just gonna go just next single. Yeah, but it does the singing stuff really well too.
No, yeah, you can hear it.
Sustain knob is doing its job.
Yeah, jeez, look at it carry that.
Real sustain.
Virtually infinite.
Let's see how long it sustains on the flats. I'm gonna turn.
nut, and that's gonna do a little more on that end.
I forgot to mention
even though it's short
nut.
scale too.
Yeah, brass nut Ray Ross bridge.
Oh,
Yeah.
You got the same bridge.
But this is with the tone all the way off.
see, again, in my head, I just automatically assumed that flats were not gonna have any bitiness to it with this pedal.
It totally-
and
yeah.
it grinds. It sounds really
So
good.
rad.
But I mean, that is to be expected with Electro-Harmonix. You playing Breed? Yeah! I'm old.
Yeah.
That's like, to me, if you were to put that in the mix with that actual guitar riff, like just say that song.
I think that would work nicely.
It would sound great.
Yeah, fuck yeah, it would.
Because you know why? Again, you don't lose, and that's a problem with a lot of pedals like this. In general, is you sacrifice the low end for bass for a lot of these pedals, and not just fuzz, but for a lot of them, it just tone sucks hard.
Did you say you're old?
I am.
I think I'm.
Yeah, you're older.
Yeah.
I didn't want to draw attention,
okay,
you shortstop.
Let me try max tone, max
I did play
sustain.
shortstop when I played
I
bass.
bet you did.
Yep. Hit it again.
Boy, what'd you change?
Max the 2.
Woohoo! See, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I want everything done.
Do some fucking Lemmy. Play some Lemmy. Oh god. Okay, hold on.
I don't remember the rest of the riff.
That's pretty. I mean, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was just saying, what do you mean? You just played the song.
Yeah. Now it's with the tone wide open, tone all the way closed. Doesn't matter.
Well, hold on, because I was playing that bass this morning, and I think you might have an issue with that switch.
Really?
Let's hear it clean.
It's just subtle.
Okay, maybe my ears are just not working. Because I was playing it this morning, and I did not hear a difference.
When you flip it up, it just cuts the very top, like 5K or something, and then here's tone all the way closed.
That's weird. When I was playing it this morning, it did not sound like that at all. It sounded identical in every position.
Really?
When I was doing that whole, like...
Really?
Yeah. Okay, never mind. Carry on.
If you're gonna do chords with this pedal, is it gonna sound, muffled, or are you gonna have some articulation for that?
Let's find out.
Huh?
Okay, hold on now.
Is it going to be biggled or is it going to be muffled?
Now let's try it again. In that window, it's a little muff.
It's a little muff for the big muff.
Yeah. But I think if you're a chordal player, like sticking north and noon, I think it's probably going to be fine. That chord sounded really good on that set.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so let me bring this down. That's always like one of the things I look for with like drives or fuzz or anything like that is like if it's gonna handle more than that one note, because
Yeah.
sometimes you want that bigger sound, although bass is pretty big on its own, and in its normal reference as far as what people are playing bass for, you're behind the guitar is doing all the whittly diddlies, and you're filling the rest, right?
Yeah.
But if there's a song like our band or a genre that's going to fill it, the shoegazy type stuff, and you want something really big and something really different, but it doesn't necessarily hold up to that multiple chordal kind of playing, it gets lost, and the signal, it just becomes garbled. This doesn't do that. It sounded pretty damn clean.
Yeah. Like I've said, I kind of like it a little above the noon o'clock position. But it's usable underneath in the darker
range.
settings.
Like, that was from a layman when it comes to pick playing.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean,
Chris
even
can
if
do
you're
it much
just...
better.
I think if you turn the tone up above noon, what you get is the ability to do it without a guitar supporting it.
Yes.
If you're playing it with the tone all the way dark, you'd have like maybe a guitar doubling or whatever to keep it very articulate. But when you turn the tone up, you don't need that anymore.
Yeah, but I think if the guitar tone is maybe a little lacking or a little thinner, then I think this type of... Because it sounds more gnarly and like it's going to burn shit down. I think you get away with that if the guitar tone is a little thinner.
Darker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just thinner in general, like less gain.
So like all...
Maybe they're playing a Fender and there's
all
not a whole lot
Ibanez
of...
through a solid state amp.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, like it's genre specific too. Like what you're doing, how you're playing, that's gonna be like your approach to that. Like I could see that darker, more muffled tone being like maybe like a A bead with like a guitar amp. You know how like Russian Circles does a lot of their stuff when they're mixing amps and mixing different pedals and stuff. Like I could see that working really well with more of a higher gained instrument. Anyways, that lower tone, like that would sound really good.
I want to try going here lower.
Yeah, super indie vibe, like bass vibes from that.
It kind of sounds broken in a good way.
Yeah. I don't think you can quite do the broken toaster ripping Velcro
but that's
level
about
of broken,
as
but I
close
get
as
you.
you're gonna get.
Yeah, I like it with the sustain down.
See, but like that's very subtle as far as the fuzz character that it's adding at that setting, and it's still got enough ass behind it to where it's not sounding muffled or garbled, and that's huge for me because I mean at that point a lot of times when you have settings, and that's a lot of it too, is like if you have a really iconic kind of pedal or piece of gear that you're kind of hanging your hat on of what it's supposed to sound like, but you don't necessarily know how or where you want the settings to be, but you just run with it, it can mess up your whole like run through with that, and you won't give it enough time. Like find where it sounds good first before you make your decisions on it.
Yeah.
And really take some time with the knobs.
Chris, what are you doing with your tone? Is your tone
I'm just
wide
kind of
open?
switching. Yeah, I'm not touching the tone.
Okay, so when you were just playing the right, so with the sustain down like that, if you turn the tone down just a hair, it would almost sound like, correct me if I'm wrong, like you're beating the shit out of your amplifier, like power side distortion, power side feedback, not preamp clipping.
I could see that.
Like I think that sounds like power clipping, which is cool. This is Jack Bruce.
Yeah. Let me roll the tone down. Give me a second.
Yeah.
See, like if I close
there.
my eyes, I feel like you're playing every Black Keys song they've ever written.
All right.
Hold on, I don't want to get copyright. Never mind. Silver on the floor.
Banana nut bread. Banana nut bread.
I was wondering what they said.
Yeah. Welcome to the Black Keys Bakery.
Chris is making up some pipe hot copyright.
I'm in a different key. It's fine.
Sure. Yeah, me too. My whole life's in a different key lately.
That's a pretty rad tone.
Yeah, it is.
Dude,
Yeah,
okay,
it is.
so
That's neck bucker tone close.
okay, look, I'm gonna ask this on the spot so I don't.
When
look
was
like
the muff
Yeah.
incepted?
Right around 68, I think.
Okay.
Somewhere.
So what was the fuzz? The fuzz face was first then.
I think the
The
Maestro.
Maestro FZ1 was technically the first pedal, I think.
I think so too.
And
then
it was just
followed
modeled
by
after a fucked up circuit from a board.
Yeah.
Oh.
Followed by the Tone Bender, I think, was kind of the second one.
But they were all within, like...
They're all kind of doing...
So, like, the only reason why I said fuzz face is because, you know, like, Hendrix made that, like, huge.
Yeah.
That was a big part of his tone. So, like, I automatically just kind of assumed because of the timeline that the fuzz face was, like, that was it. So, knowing there was prior to, there was others before that.
Yeah, there were a handful of different kind of one-offs, but... I mean, of the fuzzes that are still in existence today, I think this is probably the biggest, most legendary one of them. I would say.
You could see why. I mean,
oh yeah.
And you know what? Also, there's a lot of times where it's not necessarily built for a bass, right? The pedal's not specifically geared or driven towards bass use. But when you have a pedal that can be used for either instrument or whatever instrument you play, and it's still consistently delivering what you expect from that pedal or from that company, in this case Electro-Harmonix, I mean, they're no slouches when it comes to pedals. These guys know what they're doing. This pedal translates to any instrument and it does what it's supposed to, and it sounds incredibly consistent. I mean, you can see that.
I actually kind of like this version right here. I'd rather listen to it on bass than guitar. I'm not a big fan of fuzz guitar in this type of fuzz.
Give me reference, because I don't know enough guitar players that would use it. Who uses a Big Muff that I could be like agree or disagree with you on?
Because I don't like it on guitar, I can't really think of any.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I was just curious, just for comparison purposes, because I might agree.
I know people like Tom Morello have gone on record, like he was like, you know, when I bought this, I stepped on it, and that was, you know, the sound of rock and roll.
Well, his opinion's super valid, so I get that.
Okay, Billy Corgan uses the op amp.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so like.
So think of every shoegaze 90s band is probably at least one or two Big Muffs in the ensemble.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cobain used one at one point. I know he was famous
a big
for the
DS1 guy.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he at least plugged, because he had small clones, so why wouldn't he just, you know, check this out too?
I mean, he might have.
While he's on the EHX kick.
Yeah.
Beyond that...
The DOD grunge pedal in the
wow.
90s, that sounded kind of Big Muffy to me.
There is, okay, I don't know if anyone's going to know it, but there's a band that was
too.
from my hometown called The Jelly, and I know that dude, I have their record, it's killer, by the way, but track 2 on that is totally that sound on guitar. And they pull it off pretty well in that song, but I still would rather hear something like a DS1 on guitar, or something in that flavor. Not so much this.
Yep.
But this on bass, I'm in.
I can't argue that.
And it's got the best name. I don't know if people even realize how subversive that name is nowadays.
Yeah.
But it makes your signal hairy and deep.
Well, thank you all for joining, whatever this was. I've been Chris. This has been the Big Muff. Chuck.
You've been Chris.
Yeah. He has been Chris.
I'm gonna.
Chris has been. That's what he's saying.
Okay, so we will see you next Friday with the next Fuzz for Fuzz Friday.
Do we know what the next Fuzz is going to be, or is it going to be a grab bag?
It's going to be a grab bag.
All right.
So you'll be surprised along with us, and we'll see you next week.